If you're tired of the standard business and marketing fundamentals, frameworks, and funnels, you need a little mischief. Get ready to turn up the volume on the CEO Mischief Maker podcast, where you access conversations with seasoned business owners who have smashed through mindset barriers, innovated the standard boring business and marketing playbooks, and executed future-paced strategies with bleeding-edge tools and tactics to micro-fail their way into massive success and growth. We are Mindset Impact Strategic Catalysts helping innovative entrepreneurs focus. We are CEO Mischief Makers. Ready to make a little mischief? CEO Mischief Makers, welcome, welcome. It is Friday. Yes. I love this day because this episode, it's the third episode in my series, every single time with every single guest or solo. And I love it because we get to take everything that we've talked about in the previous two episodes and now mix up that cake, bake it, and eat it. It is actually when we get to put these ideas into practice. What that has to do with eating cake, I don't know, but it came to my mind. So here we are. Welcome back to the conversation. My wonderful guest. So fun. We talked about Star Trek last time. So if you didn't listen to that one yet, go listen to it. Valerie Cobb. All right. You ready to get down in the weeds and start really making things happen, Valerie?
Sure. Let's make some things happen, whatever the thing is.
Whatever the thing is, we'll figure it out. All right. So just in a nutshell, mindset shifts with sales and retention and referrals bred into innovating and looking forward, realizing that matter is neither created nor destroyed. We just need to reassemble what we're doing, because I say it like this. Everything has already been done in the past. We just have to look at it a new way and figure out, in this context, how do we have to make this work? Because everything's been done. So it's not like we're going to really do anything new. We're just going to restructure what has been done in the past, right? Carts, horses and carts, no different from cars. It's just restructuring a transport vehicle, right? Yeah. Spaceships, whatever. So that's what we talked about before. Go listen to those episodes. But now let's come down, because you talk about revenue and sales. The audience that is listening to this is small business, sometimes solo entrepreneurs, but small businesses with small teams. And I know you work more with larger companies, maybe some small teams too, obviously. Based on what we've talked about, if I'm struggling with my revenue, and I might be saying it's the sales team or it's the marketing or, I might be just trying to blame someone. Is there something really as like the first tier that I should look at to try and diagnose that or be curious about? That's another way I look at it, is I just got to be curious. And like you said, there's a solution. I just haven't run into it yet or structured my mind to understand it yet. So how can I be curious, and what can I say or ask to try and start uncovering that?
Typically what I like to do with anything, even if it was your full-time equivalent role, is you always go in and you try to go in with an open mind, and you don't want people. It's like a math problem. And I know I'm kind of jumping around. It's like a math problem that we look at over and over again incorrectly. So we've said 1 + 1 is 3, and we look at it and and we're like, what's wrong? 1 + 1 is 3. What's wrong? You double check the whole step process to creating 1 + 1 is 3. You go around it and you still get the outcome 3. And then you take it to your mom and you say, Mom, I'm getting the same dang answer. And she says, the smartest thing, walk away from the problem and come back after you're fresh, right? We try to add that bit of freshness. It's not just mostly large organizations. Small organizations need the exact same thing. Yeah. So typically we will start with what I call freshness, which is the revenue audit. And when we call it freshness, it's another pair of eyes. H&R Block did a great campaign based on this. They used to say the H&R Block second glance on your tax return. We might find something, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
So we're not typically looking to redesign and refix and change everything that you've done, because we kind of look at anything at the light that there's probably a lot of good things that are happening that don't need change. And I've been a general contractor in construction. And I always hated it when I would have subcontractors come in and look at other subcontractors' work and give me a quote. And they're like, oh, those joins are horrible. Look at, they're so bad. And it's like, I didn't even notice this, whatever you're talking about, because you're the expert in it. And I think what happens is, a lot of times people won't even ask for that second glance because they're afraid of the hard sell in that's all wrong. So first step is not everything is wrong. Take a deep breath and let's have a dialogue for about 45 minutes and let's see, just talk to me. Tell me what your life is about. Tell me what your goals are about. Tell me, listen. And you talked about that you listen, right? So I do a lot of listening. Even in closing any kind of deals, I teach stop and listen. Shut up. Don't feature benefit vomit. I know that's a hard word to say. Just listen. Just listen for cues. Yes. And sometimes we can just pick up on cues. And I remember being on a call. Someone said, yeah, I was in Vistage and I was told to call you about being a fractional. It doesn't matter if it's fractional, part-time chief revenue officer. And you're like, okay. And so come in and fix my sales team. And the first question I said was, how do you know it's your sales team? And he was like, I assumed I'm a president, I'm operations. I was set in here and I don't know how to train salespeople. So I'm assuming it's a sales team problem because they're not closing business. And I said, okay, now are you open to just let's further talk about the sales team? And then we started talking about the sales team and we started talking about their top performer and what that top performer was doing. And we started talking about quantifying the steps, the soft skills that it looked like this salesman was doing. And it turned out to be more of a revenue operations issue than it was an actual sales talent issue. But a lot of times that happens and it isn't necessarily a marketing issue, and it could be a quick fix. All you need to do is align these teams and have them work a little bit better together. And then you can, on average, your net profit will go up 19%. If you align, all of these teams, it makes sense. Yeah. So a day in the life is, let's get on a call. 45 minutes. I'm not going to sell you anything. I've already walked people down to the competitor's booth. So let's get on a call. And then from there, I'm a fixer by heart. So I'm going to give you a few suggestions. If you want to go deeper, I have a full revenue audit that I go and I sign NDAs and I review all your financial statements. And everybody's like, well, you're not a CFO, but the financial statements are your scorecards. If they're not working, then you've got something going on with it. Yeah. So I review and I usually ask, well, okay, what's your 5-year plan? And my so-and-so told me I should just have a year out. You can't predict that far out. And I'm like, well, if it takes 6 to 9 months to close a deal in your arena, then you're probably going to need at least 3 to 5 years to even watch trends. So do you even have that plan? So I'll go through a series of about 25 questions that says, and I even have it on my website. You can literally download a light revenue audit that you can ask those 25 questions. That's free. I don't really care. Those are questions you should be asking your team, small, big, in between, solo. I don't care. And actually, you can increase revenue very quickly with a small company just by having them start to ask those questions, and then from there we focus on top three things. We all know that humans can't do more than 3 to 5 tasks at a time, working hard, whether you're Dale Carnegie or Stephen Covey and rocks and all this kind of stuff. 90 days we lose steam. We also can only do 3 to 5 rocks at a time, really 3, probably not 5. And we try to get them to focus on the thing that is going to move the needle the fastest first. That might just be hiring somebody like you, saying, let's redefine their message. And that's all they needed. People aren't understanding their message. Yeah. That's not a big change. It doesn't cost thousands of dollars to change a little bit of repurposing of messaging,
That's right.
And then it's, okay, well, that might bring in some more cash flow. So now we can go to year 2 for a broader initiative with more cash flow. Now you have more marketing funds, which now you have the ability to potentially hire more sales to close deals. They kind of all domino on each other. But typically in that process, I take what I call a predictable revenue calculator that we've created, which is also free on our website. I'm not trying to promote this. Trust me. You're asking me the process. So I put it on and in predicting revenue, there are certain action items that produce one sale. So unless we know what the level of effort is, most people are flying blind. They say, I want my company to grow. And I'm like, by how much? By when? And that's just 4 disciplines of execution. If you don't know that book, it's Sean Covey and that group, but it's X to Y by when. And and that's just putting a formula to SMART goals, right? X to Y by when. And so we start with that and we start to peel away the layer of the onion of what is actually bottlenecking at different pinch points in any sales process. And when I say sales process, whether you're saying you're a nonprofit and bringing income in, if you're not bringing something in to pay for the widget to then produce net profit of some sort that either is not a not-for-profit or is to recycle, however you want to say it, right? Then it really doesn't matter. So we put under the microscope against a 5-year forecast what could happen, just like in our ideation. If someone says to me, I'm at 500,000 a year and I want to be at 5 million, the first thing I do is say, okay, have you done your TAM, SAM, SUM, your total addressable market share? Is there market for it? Have you pressure tested that? What did you find? What are the numbers involved? Then we start asking, like I said, all the rest of the revenue questions, which is how often do you close? How many touch points do you need to have? So we work through the level of effort through the predictable revenue calculator. We then lay down those on a forecast and then we have the whole company, hopefully transparent. It's high involvement planning or whatever in a strategic plan. We have the whole company report on things like economics and different things to then get buy-in from all the various different stakeholders. Sometimes with a small company or a big company, when we're first starting, we keep it to a very small group. But then eventually, hopefully we're getting into transparency where your sales team is now creating their own quota. Because they're based, they know the numbers, they know the level of effort. And because you can do that, you can have metrics that actually show those outcomes at any given time so that they always know where they're at in their goals to then be able to repeat the next year, and each year over year growth. But yeah, and some people will say, well, I've got a 6-step process. And I'm like, to me, it depends on what the company already has in place, whether it's a 6-step process. I got to see what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
And then I'll let you know if it's a 12-step process. If it's a 15-step process, I won't know until I've seen kind of where you want to go. Start with the vision. And then what do you have in play today to then begin to know if it's a 10, 12, 5, 1, 2, I don't care what it is. Process.
Yeah. But this, okay. If you don't have a phone call with someone or a Zoom call with someone, or when you have a Zoom call with someone and you're trying to find out if they're a good fit for your product or service, if you don't go into that call with zero expectations of a sale, you will not hear all the things that Valerie just went through. You will not be able to ascertain where to start or what to do, or even if they're a fit. If you're just saying, I've got to make the sale, and you're trying to make them fit into that process, you lost it already. You've sabotaged that retention and referral process because all you're doing is trying to satisfy what you need. You're not listening and understanding what this person might need. And then you can go into all these other processes. If you're an agency, if you are a salesperson for your particular organization, doesn't matter. Whatever you're trying to solve, whatever pain you're actually trying to heal, again, go listen to the last episode. If you don't listen without the expectation of a sale, you won't hear all the things that are necessary to retain and get referrals, which is all of our goals. If you just want to do one shot sales and just be transactional and just get your hand in someone's wallet once, well, then you are on a hamster wheel that I would not wish on anyone, but hey, have fun. Right? So if you want to tap into all of the sources that Valerie just mentioned, they will be found at callmemkj.com/Valerie, VALERIE. Callmemkj.com/Valerie. And I will have links to the calculator, to the questions, all the things that Valerie just mentioned. They're all free. Why the heck would you not take advantage of them? Right? So go to that.
If you want to create them, you certainly can.
Yeah. But again, you're not going to have all the experience she has. So I suggest you go download them. So Valerie, it has been such a joy and so much fun. And I've been able to revisit so many things in my life that we have aligned. I could just talk to you for a very long time, as I'm sure we will again speak. I have no doubt. What would you leave us with, at least from a revenue perspective? Someone in the audience, just leave them with a bit of confidence boost that, like you said, it's not everything. Don't worry. It'll be okay. It's not everything. What is it that they can walk away with in this conversation, feeling like, all right, it might be fixable?
I have to go back to my mentor in everything, which is my mother. And my mother always said, you can do anything you can put your mind to. So if you are willing, you can actually solve this problem. And I get it that there are physical limitations and things like that. That's not what we're talking about. You're not going to all of a sudden become the pro football player because you put your mind to it. But, and I should say yes, and you could become very good at passing a football and enjoy some of those things. But one of the things, honestly, I would just say, take a breath and know that things are okay and they happen for a reason, for the experience that you need in order to, whether it's this company or if you're a perpetual startup person or whatever, they will eventually work. And so, yeah, my biggest advice, take a breath and step back and look at the equation differently. Fresh lens.
Okay, hold on. If your mindset was shifted, you were inspired to innovate, and you were spurred into action, don't just move on with your day. Focus, my friend, and take a few minutes to visit ceomischiefmaker.com to learn more about the value that was shared with you today. Please act now and create some CEO mischief of your own.